Hey, welcome. So here is page 659, number 27. The parabola passes through the point 5, 2, has a vertical axis and a maximum at 4, 3. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this. I know there's a lot on the screen right now, but just kind of follow along with my pointer. So if I put the point 5, 2, that's right over here, and has a maximum at 4, 3, which is right here, 4, 3. So I have a maximum there. Being that it's a maximum, that's the highest it can be. So this thing has to open down. All right. And I know if it opens down, see, I have one opening up and opening down. I know if it opens up or down, it is y equals x squared. Okay, so I know this is an x squared parabola. And so that's going to help me determining my equation. I started to type it out here. Being that the maximum is at 4, 3, I know my vertex is at 4, 3. So I started to put this in my standard form. And again, I mentioned it's going to be an x squared graph. So I did x minus 4 squared, getting that from the vertex. And then I put in y minus 3 because that is my y coordinate of the vertex. What I didn't know yet was this -1, and I'll get there. But what does go here in your equation, it's x minus h squared equals 4p. This is 4p, and then y minus k. So the 4p, that was the piece I was missing. All right. And I was able to sketch this in because I had my point, I had the vertex, I know it opens down. I know I have, since I have one point here, because of symmetry, I have one point here. And I actually did know this, the axis of symmetry, because since this is the vertex, this has to be my axis of symmetry, which is the line x equals 4. Okay. Now, what I didn't know was this number here, but I know it had to equal 4p. And so what I did was I used this point 5, 2, which is on the graph. Okay. So I took the 5, I plugged it in for x. See right here. I plugged in 5 minus 4 squared equals, there's my 4p right there. And then 2 minus 3, getting this 2 from right there. So I just plugged in that x and that y. And then I simplified, and I get 1 squared, which is 1, equals, you see -4p here. Well, I have 4p, and then 2 minus 3 is -1, so that gives me -4p, which means p is -1/4. Okay, which makes sense because if p is negative, that tells me that this is opening down. So how did I get the -1 here? Well, remember this is 4p. So if I put -1/4 in for 4p, I get -1, and voila, I have my equation right there. Now, that's still didn't tell me my focus and my directrix, but I know p is -1/4. And so for the focus, there's my vertex at 4, 3. And I have to go down 1/4 or down 0.25, which puts me at 4 and 2.75. So there's my focus right there. Can't hardly see it, but it's that little purple dot. The directrix is the same distance, but the other way, or going up. And it is a line. And so going up from 3, I add 1/4 or 0.25. And so that puts me at 3.25. And remember, that's a line. So this line right here is y equals 3.25. So everything is pretty standard. The goofy thing was we needed to plug in this x and plug in this y. So I hope that gives you a good overall right there.